I'm washing people's cars and putting gas in it and cooking for them, which was okay. I mean, they were, uh, the family as a whole were kind of nice to me. And there's sometimes that there was things I didn't like. His wife's name was Margaret, by the way. Anyway, he had daughters. Well, he's no need. Well, I will say this: they're deceased now. That's been back in 84, 85. That's when well, I won't go into that. Ian Zorings, the things happened there with the murders. He was diplomat's son, and Elizabeth Haysom, which was mind control murder, and they're in prison. And it's very sad about it. But during that time span when I was up there was when that happened, April of '85, I guess. Anyway, I stayed there and pumped gas and lived, and they had a little travel trailer, a little short camper that they let me live in, and it got me off the street. It got me off of, and the car was parked there. So what's wrong with this picture that I'm driving a Larry Flint car, ran in a campaign, and I'm there doing this and hardly getting any money? They did pay me. Well, I had the food, a good food while I was there. I cooked, helped cook it. Um, so you get the gist there, though. So it's like, is anybody listening? What's wrong with all this? Now I want to go to Philip Reinica. He was an ex policeman, and his family were in Stanton, and they were into law enforcement. And I think they were good people. But anyway, one day in the store, it was a little country store back then in Grottoes, Virginia, and he pointed up to the scanner, police scanner sitting up there, and he said, pointed to his head. Well, this is what they went after with me, though, like they've done President Trump. They try to accuse him simply because he's doing his job. They've called him every name in the book. But what Philip Reinicke said was they can, what did he say? Well, you know what they put up on scanners. They know where I go every minute. So ask yourself, how's that done? I'm not allowed to say it, or people would say, oh, well, that's crazy. They don't do that to you. What have I been writing about? How would they know a scanner picked me up unless there's a UPS? Do they call it UPS? I can't even think right now. That's up there that just about everybody's on. Believe me, they are. And to ignore it doesn't help you any. But anyway, in other words, they can scan me and know where I'm at every moment. So now that I'm going fast forward to here, living on the Appalachian Trail, and Edwards, I don't, John Edwards is the state senator, and I liked him. I think he was a good man. He's still a senator. I think I don't know if these are related or not, and I've forgotten his name, but Edwards, he and his father family, he was married, had the farm right next to the Appalachian Trail where I would go off Mountain Pass Road, the old trail, up to Full Heart Knob, and I lived up there and went through all this. Anyway, when early on when I first started having to live on the Appalachian Trail, to have a place to be, I had a tent. Got it. Well, I didn't at first, but I ended up having a cheap tent, and then later on, I had one that was better and all that. But it was still horrifying to live the freezing cold, starving, snakes, bears, people that were so mean, or a few people good. My point, though, is at one point early on, I walked back down to Mountain Pass, and there's a little creek that went by there. Not in the summer, it didn't have any water, but in the winter, you'd think you were going to get washed away. But anyway, I was so hungry and everything, and I had walked and begged in the hot sun and everything. I went to this Mr. Edwards' father and mother's home that was on the other side of theirs. They lived side by side to the trail and had nice homes and everything. And I went and knocked on their door, and they were hesitant about letting me in. Now, let me remind you, they all knew about me. They saw me going and coming in the condition I was in. And can you believe it, later on, what's their name? I can't remember. It lived directly across the entrance to the trail. Where I would go in and camp, and the Edwards were on the other side of the road. There, what's the name of the town that the Bushes live in? Well, anyway, I can't think. That's their last name, though. I thought that would, in all this mess, that was kind of odd. But anyway, I went to this Mr. Edwards. I don't know if he's kin to John Edwards, the senator, or not, state senator. But anyway, they had the farm. I went to his parents, and I knocked at the door. I didn't bother anybody. I'm just trying to live, and everybody's told to ignore me, don't help me, don't, even horrible things. Why do you think I would live on the Appalachian Trail, for God's sake, and all that hell, begging to find my kids for food, to not freeze, for water? They would complain. I don't know that the Edwards did that. The people, I can't think of their name right at the moment, is directly across the street from the old entrance to the Appalachian Trail on Mountain Pass. Well, I don't know. I'm not even going to go there. Yeah, I will too. Terry, the friend, well, I hope he's still a friend of mine, had the homeless assistance people from Roanoke come out there, and they brought me a little water and a little food once in a while. Do you know that this people that I'm talking about directly across went to church every Sunday? They raised hell because the homeless assistants would come every once in a while, not often, and bring a little water, which I would carry up. It was horrible to try to carry the gallon waters up the trail to where I was camped. But they complained about that. Rather than helping me, they complained. So anyway, I went to Mr. Edwards that lived, had the farm, and then his father and mother lived on the other side. And this is all I'm going to say about that. I went to them and knocked at the door, and they let me in. And I remember she gave me a couple of cans and I think some peanut butter, and said to come back the next day. She would see if she could help, if they could help me with some food. And I came back the next day, and it was a screen door, and the man, her husband, the father of Mr. Edwards that owned the house, he was standing there, and I thought he was going to open the screen. Well, I thought it was open. I reached up to open it. He's standing there, and it's latched. And then he opened it, and he pointed at the scanner, just like up at Reinecke's police scanner. And he said, "We can't help you. They know where you're at all the time." So, I mean, wake up, people. They've made movies. It's common knowledge. They put things in you that allow the GPS system to follow you anywhere they want it to follow you. So that's all I'm going to say.